right, the Bucks take on the Magic, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off on Monday, December 5th, 2022. Milwaukee's minus 9.5, totals 227. Now, the Bucks got the W in 4 out of their last 5 ball games, and they played some really tough defense this season. They're in the top 3 in fewest road points allowed. When it comes to offensive production, they're in the top 3 in offensive boards. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's averaging nearly a dozen boards a game, and he also leads the team in scoring. The Greek Freak's averaging 31.8 points a night, and he ranks second in the league in that stat. Meanwhile, Chris Middleton, he scored 17 points in his season opener a few days ago. Now they're facing an Orlando squad on the other side who lost their last 8 straight, and they rank in the bottom 5 in guarding the field goal at home. When it comes to offensive production, the Magic's nearly dead last in the league in points per game. Now, injury-wise, Harris, Okike, and Suggs are out for the Magic. Mo Bamba is also listed as questionable. Meanwhile, for Milwaukee on the other side, Ibaka's out, Lopez and Allen are questionable. When it comes to the total, Milwaukee's 7-1 to the under on the road this year. Meanwhile, Orlando saw unders against the likes of Cleveland, Brooklyn, and Indiana. I'm going to lean toward Milwaukee minus 9.5, under 227. Next ball game, Clippers, Hornets, 7 o'clock East. The LA Clippers are minus 4, totals 216.5. And in my opinion here, guys, both teams have significant problem areas. The Clippers are in the bottom 10 in road scoring. Meanwhile, Charlotte is dead last in the league in shooting from the field at home. Now, injury-wise, Hayward, Smith, and Ball are out for the Hornets. Meanwhile, for the Clippers, Paul George, Luke Kennard, and Kawhi Leonard, they're all listed as questionable. When it comes to selecting a winner in this one, if you want to see whether I'm making a play on the money line total or against the spread in this one, this game is being featured as my $1.99 daily best play on my website. And I'll include a link for that play in the description section below. The daily best play costs just $1.99. And if you sign up for that package here today, you're going to get access to that membership for the next 30 days. Moving on, next matchup, Thunder, Hawks, 7:30 p.m. East. Atlanta's the 5-point favorite at home, totals 235. And even though they are favored by a couple of buckets at home here, the Hawks have had a tough time covering the number recently. They're 3-6 against the spread in their last 9. And they've been horrible shooting the basketball at home. Atlanta's actually dead last in the NBA in offensive three-point percentage in their own building. They're making only 29% of their three-pointers at the State Farm Arena. Now they're facing an Oklahoma City team on the other side of things, who's currently in the top 5 in guarding the field goal on the road. They also covered in their last 3 straight, and they're also covering in 67% of their road games. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's averaging a team-best 31 points a night. He's also making 92% of his free throws. Meanwhile, Josh Giddey scoring over 14.5 points a game himself. When it comes to rebounding the basketball, the Thunder is one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the West. Now, injury-wise, OKC's relatively healthy at the moment. Meanwhile, for Atlanta, Holiday and Forrest are out. Collins and Hunter are still out as well. When it comes to the total, Atlanta saw 3 out of their last 5 get over the line. They also went 9-1 to the over in their last 10 against Oklahoma City. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. Meanwhile, the Thunder on the other side, they went 80% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lead toward OKC plus 5 over 235. Next ball game, it is going to be Celtics at the Raptors, 7:30 Eastern tip-off. Boston's the 1-point favorite, totals 227. And speaking of the total in this one, Boston has gone 8-3 to the under while traveling this year. That's good for 73% in that category. And more recently, the Celtics saw unders against the likes of Brooklyn, Sacramento, and Chicago. Now, Toronto on the other side, they went 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. 7-4 to the under this year at the Scotiabank Arena. When it comes to selecting a winner in this one, well, I definitely see problem areas on both sides. Toronto's currently in the bottom 3 in the league in shooting from the field. Meanwhile, Boston's one of the worst offensive rebounding teams in the East. Now, injury-wise, Gallinari and Williams are still out. Marcus Smart is questionable. Meanwhile, for Toronto, Otto Porter's out. Hernan Gomez is questionable. When it comes to selecting a winner, this game's being featured as my NBA tier package bet on my website. And I'll include a link for that play in the description section below as well. So if you want to see whether I like Boston on the road here, or if I like Toronto getting the job done in front of their own fans, there's only one way to find out, and that's to sign up for my NBA tier package bet on my website. And once again, guys, if you sign up for that package, you're going to get access to that membership for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus here, guys, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. But as far as making a free pick is concerned for this video, I'm going to lean toward the under 227 in that game. Next contest, it is going to be Sixers at the Rockets, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Philadelphia is the 8-point favorite, totals 221.5. Now the Sixers failed to cover in their last 2 straight, 5-6 against the spread in their last 11 on the road. And in addition to battling injuries, the Sixers are currently in the bottom 3 in the NBA in scoring. They're facing a Houston team who covered in 5 out of their last 8 at home. And even though they have struggled this year, this is actually one of the better rebounding teams in the game. Houston's currently in the top 3 in home offensive boards. Now, injury-wise, Jayshawn Tate is out for Houston. Meanwhile, for Philly, Harden and Maxey are still out. Niang and Springer are questionable. When it comes to the total, Philadelphia went 60% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, Houston saw unders against the likes of Golden State, Denver, and Oklahoma City. I'm going to lean toward Houston plus 8, under 221.5. Next matchup, it is going to be Heat at the Grizzlies, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Memphis is -1, totals 224. Now, the Grizzlies got the W in 4 out of their last 5 ball games, and they actually have an 800 win percentage at home. John Morant scoring a team-best 28.5 points a game, along with 7 assists. Meanwhile, Jaren Jackson, he's scoring nearly 20 points a game himself. When it comes to defensive play, the Grizzlies are holding their opponents to just 30% shooting from 3 land at home. They're facing a Miami team who's just 3-8 while traveling, and they do a bad job shooting the basketball. They're in the bottom 10 right now in both field goal percentage and 3-point shooting. When it comes to rebounding the basketball, they're also one of the worst offensive rebounding teams in the East. Now, injury-wise, Butler, Dedmon, and Vincent are questionable. Oladipo's still out. When it comes to the total, Miami's going 64% to the under on the road this year. Meanwhile, Memphis saw unders against the likes of Minnesota, Sacramento, and New Orleans. I'm going to lean toward Memphis -1, under 224. Next ball game, it is going to be Suns at the Mavs, 8:30 p.m. East. Dallas is -3, totals 221. And out of the Mavs' last 9 games, they got the W only 3 times. They're also one of the worst covering teams in the game. Dallas is covering in only 25% of their contests at the American Airlines Center. One of their biggest problems is their offensive production. They're in the bottom 5 in home scoring, and they're the worst offensive rebounding team in the game. They're facing a Phoenix team on the other side who's in the top 5 in defensive boards themselves. Meanwhile, as a team, Phoenix got the W in 8 out of their last 10. And they're one of the better scoring franchises in the West right now. Devin Booker is scoring nearly 30 points a game. He's also making over 49% of his field goals. Meanwhile, Mikal Bridges, he's drilling over 45% of his shots from beyond the arc. Now, injury-wise, Chris Paul and Torrey Craig are questionable. Crowder and Johnson are still out. Meanwhile, for Dallas, Kemba Walker and Christian Wood, they're questionable for them. When it comes to the total in this one, Dallas saw unders against the likes of New York, Toronto, and Denver. Meanwhile, Phoenix saw 5 out of their last 8 stay under the number themselves. I'm going to lean toward Phoenix +3, under 221. With that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It is going to be Pacers at the Warriors, 10 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Golden State's the 10-point favorite, totals 238. Now, the Warriors got the W in 7 out of their last 9, and they've been virtually unbeatable at home. They're 11-1 straight up in the Chase Center, and Steph Curry is scoring a team-best 30 points a game. Now, no real surprise here, guys. Steph's making over 44% of his shots from downtown as well. Meanwhile, Andrew Wiggins, he's knocking down 45% of his three-pointers. They're facing an Indy team who may have to go to work without leading scorer Tyrese Haliburton. He's currently nursing a groin injury. And even when these guys are mostly healthy, the Pacers do a bad job on defense. They're allowing over 118 points a game on the road, and they do a bad job guarding the three-pointer. Now, injury-wise, once again, McConnell and Haliburton are questionable. Meanwhile, for Golden State, Wiggins and Poole are questionable for them. When it comes to the total in this one, Golden State went 60% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, Indy saw 6 out of their last 10 get over the number themselves. I'm going to lean toward Golden State minus 10 over 238. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. I like Milwaukee minus 9.5 under 227. Now, I have no free pick available for the Clipper-Charlotte game. That game's being featured as my daily best play on my website. Give me Oklahoma City plus 5 over 235. I like the under 227 in the Boston-Toronto game. And if you want to pick against the spread or on the money line in that one, well, that game is being featured as my NBA tier package bet on my website. Give me Houston plus 8 under 221.5. Memphis minus 1 under 224. Phoenix plus 3 under 221. With my next and final free pick for NBA, give me Golden State minus 10 over 238. Now, as far as giving you a free pick in the NFL here today, I like Tampa Bay minus 3 and the under 40 in that game. As far as free picks for the NHL, I like Colorado minus 1.5 over 6. St. Louis plus 1.5 under 6. Boston minus 170 over 6 goals. Edmonton minus 160 over 6.5. Calgary minus 1.5 over 6 goals. Montreal plus 1.5 under 6.5. And then finally, with our college basketball free picks, give me IUPUI plus 7 under 126. I like UMASS-LOW minus 15 over 144. Give me Albany plus 15 under 139. I also like Kennesaw State minus 5 over 139.5. Give me Kent State, the Golden Flashes, plus 14.5 over 154. I like Portland minus 15 over 151. Give me Troy minus 16.5 over 137 and a hook. And with that is going to do it for me. Gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Monday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.